In the 1992 classic film, A Few Good Men, Jack Nicholson's character says to Tom Cruise's character, "You can't handle the truth." Well, in today's episode, we're going to drop some truth bombs on you that, quite honestly, you might not be ready to handle, but you need to hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC
John Coleman.
Dio, what's popping?
Oh, my birthday's right around the corner.
You don't like telling people it's their birthday?
I won't tell you what day it is. No, here's what I don't want. I don't want a bunch of people on my birthday to reach out to me who would not have known it's my birthday unless Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn told them. So on all of my social media handles, which, by the way, if you're not following at the Loan Officer Podcast on Instagram, go ahead and do so now. Or my first name, last name on LinkedIn, first name Dustin, last name. Oh, no, but that's what I don't like. I don't like the disingenuine. Like, if you know it's my birthday and you have my cell phone number and you want to text me, awesome, right? If we worked together in the office and you knew it was my birthday, you want to come up and give me a hug or a handshake or a high five.
We work together and I don't know your birthday.
I don't know your birthday either. How about that?
Damn.
Is it in January?
Yeah.
There you go. That's
when
all
is
I need
yours?
to know.
November?
It's in November.
What does that make you, a Sagittarius?
I'm a Scorpio, but barely. And that's the most I'm going to give anybody out there.
So
I'm a
you're
Scorpio,
40,
but
how
barely.
are you turning?
I'm 1 year older than I am my last birthday.
Old bastard.
I think I'll be 46. I'll be 46 this next birthday.
I turned 40 this upcoming cycle of life or whatever.
Are you doing anything big?
No.
For it?
No. Well, I did this weekend. I bought like a TV I didn't need and a whole new surround sound system. So I guess I just couldn't wait till I turned 40. So I just couldn't even wait till Black Friday, Dustin. So I just bought it on a fucking Tuesday because I thought I could.
Is that the 86-incher I heard you talking about?
83-inch LG G4, best decision. No buyer's remorse whatsoever.
Like, do you have to watch that from 50 feet away?
No, I have. It's just like this.
Just like this.
Like a little
If you're
child.
not watching on YouTube, please know that John has his face look startled and staring up at the
like a little kid
sky.
with snot running down my nose because that's how I feel, like a little kid.
Do you play video games on that thing?
Yes, I do. Call it. Yup, that's what I got it for. Because the PS5 Pro comes out, like I need it, but I don't. But since I didn't make unwise decisions like having children, I can probably afford these mistakes. So the PS5 Pro is coming out this Thursday. So beforehand, of course, I had to upgrade my shitty 65-inch to a massive 83-inch. And while doing so, I had to get a new receiver because 4K past 120 hertz, it doesn't come cheap. And then I was like, fuck it, I might as well get some new speakers too. So here I am, $12,000 in the hole, Dustin, talking to you guys.
$12,000, bro. We're not selling that many TLOP MLO coaching community
Bitch,
memberships.
I know. You don't think I know?
Are you just put it out in the universe that hey, these people are going to find out that this is the best coaching community available.
Yeah.
Pound for pound, price for price.
Oh, yeah.
This is the most value.
Bang for your buck. So then I had to bet on myself.
John's betting. Dude, wow. I could go so many places with that. Like,
Really? Yeah, let's go deep. What would you do with $12,000 not in your living room, Dustin?
No, more I had a really bad joke on you said betting on yourself. I'll have to say that one off camera. Friend
right,
talk.
yeah.
No, wow.
Yeah.
You know what? You know how you were just like rattling off like hertz and gigas.
Yeah,
and
all that shit.
Yeah, you know how you blank out when I talk?
The same thing you
Dude,
do.
I totally blanked out. And I didn't even smoke a
Fucking
bowl before
bibs
this.
and all this shit. When you
Yeah.
say bibs and fucking RESPA violation,
Yeah.
talking about hertz and 4K pass through. Ooh, talk to me more.
I have no idea.
Sexy.
No, my brain went straight to like, what am I doing this weekend?
That's every episode for me. So you should see like, damn, fuck.
Oh, that is awesome. We did get a shameless plug-in. Let's go and get it in right now, though. Hey, loan officers, I'm calling out to you. Branch managers, I'm calling out to you. Look, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want betterment in your business, if you want to earn more so you can save more, so you can live better, so you can retire better, you got to figure out how to run your business more effectively. You do so by hiring a coach. You do so by getting sales training. And we offer one of the fastest growing communities to the mortgage industry. It's called the TLOP MLO Coaching Community. This is your opportunity to get in now before prices go up in 2025.
Well said, Dustin.
There you go. So let's get into you can't handle the truth,
Yeah,
John.
the truth is I didn't need nothing I just bought.
That is the truth.
But it doesn't matter because I can't handle the truth. That's why I bury my head in the sand and make foolish purchases, Dustin.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. You know what? If it brings you value, let me. If you can't handle the truth, I had to do this once. I dropped $12,000 one time on 4 World Series tickets, and I don't regret one bit of it.
Don't.
One bit of it. The memories I made with my mom, my dad, and my sister, the time that we had, you can never
right?
ever take that away from me. And when I was making that decision, here's literally what I thought. Well, I guess I might not be able to retire at 55. It's now going to be 55 in 1 month. You know, like literally, I'm like, look, in most professions, I am a seasoned sales professional. I can make $12,000 to $15,000 a month. You put me in any sales environment, give me 6 months of runway, I'll be making $12,000 to $15,000 a month. So worst case, if my goal is to retire at 55, me spending $12,000 on those World Series tickets, knowing it was a one-time purchase, knowing it wasn't like I signed up for $12,000 a month every single month, that would have been a different story. But that was kind of how I justified it. And I have zero regrets, and that is the cold hard truth.
That is true.
But there's some things that transpire throughout our lives in our world that I've been collecting over the past couple years, and a little bit it gets under my skin. And you and I were talking about this off camera, and you're like, wait a minute, hold that thought. Let's make an episode out of it.
That's literally how it happened.
And we're going to talk about some of the cold hard truths that y'all need to hear, but for whatever reason, and usually the reason is people are trying not to hurt your feelings. People are trying to be non-confrontational. So they don't want to let you hear what you need to hear. Like, you want the truth? Well, you can't handle the truth. Well, I'm going to give you the truth. And hopefully for some of you, you're going to tune into this episode and be better because of it. Others are going to tune in this episode and you're going to make a change that you otherwise weren't willing to make a change. Some of those changes, truth be told, you may actually make a career change. And your career change may be like, you know what? I'm not cut out for 100% commission sales. I'm not cut out to be a mortgage loan originator, or I'm not cut out to be a life insurance salesperson or a financial advisor or a realtor or whatever it is that you do for a living, because you may be at a crossroads in your life and your career where you're second guessing yourself and having doubts. And some of the things we're going to talk about are going to help you overcome or deal with those doubts and those second guessing moments. Okay. And they're in no particular order because it's a collection of the past 2 or 3 years. Because really the past 2 or 3 years that we've been hardcore doing TLOP. 2 or 3 years ago is when we first started, like, I can't even say like soft launching anything. We were beta testing things. I was beta testing, do I want to coach loan officers outside of my my actual branch network that I manage and get paid on? Do we really want to launch a website? If so, what does it look like? Do we still want to offer coaching? Do we want to travel the country speaking at events? All of that was being beta tested. We soft launched in 2023. We hard launched in 2024, right? 2024 is when we said, nope, we are TLOP. These are our 5 faculty members. This is our e-learning platform. And Dio is going to be willing to speak at 12 events a year and travel the country doing so, right? And that's where we are now. 2025 is going to be the kind of coming out party, so to speak. So some of these things I just collected as we did this beta testing. But the first story I'm going to tell is actually a story about a personal thing that happened to me, or happened to me, happened for me, or I was a part of the storyline, and I was a key member. It's an observation that I made. So my favorite uncle. So my favorite uncle, he was getting older in life and has, his fair share of medical issues, and we don't need to get into names or what those medical issues are, but just know that in the past month I visited him twice in the hospital. I walk in and I'm dressed professionally. I was coming from work. So I'm wearing slacks, tucked in polo, dress shoes, belt. I walk in with confidence. I make great eye contact. I shake hands. I never raise my voice. I never lower my voice. And the first thing I do is I walk in and I check in on my uncle. I say hi to him. I let him know I'm there. I probably crack a joke in order to try to make him to smile. And then I go to someone else who's in the room and I check in on her, right? Because she is my uncle's primary caretaker. And I check in on her, and I could tell that she was frazzled a little bit, frustrated a little bit. And I could tell that the communication hasn't been crystal clear across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And within me being there for 5 minutes, all of a sudden we have the head doctor, we have the head nurse, plus 2 other people in the room talking to me as if I was his primary caretaker. And the lesson to be learned in that particular situation is there's something to be said about how all of us dress, how we're witnessed at treating others, how we carry ourselves, and the respect that is given. What wasn't fair is that the person who was also in the room was a very competent caretaker, someone who loves my uncle through and through, right? But if I looked at, unfortunately, the outward appearance, how the hair was done or not done, the clothes they were wearing or not wearing, right? How they stood, were the shoulders back, were they up straight, were they making eye contact, were they giving a firm handshake? Did they come across as weak? Did they come across as complaining? Did they come across as bossy? Or did they come across as professional and caring? And in that situation, I think we would have had a better outcome if the other person in the room had been dressed wearing professional clothes. And by professional clothes, I mean like look like you're not going to a sleepover, right? And look like you're going out somewhere in public dressed to impress, even if it's like kind of like a casual professional feel. And then, is that person confident when they speak? Are they clear when they speak? Do they make good eye contact? And are they showing that they care for the patient who's the loved one? And are they asking good questions and giving the other person an opportunity to speak? And the big lesson for a business person from that particular scenario is I learned firsthand what benefit it has, because I had an A-B comparison. When someone is dressed for success, when they might make eye contact, when they speak with confidence, when they show people that they care by their actions, not with their words, and they treat all parties with respect. Right? I wasn't once complimentary towards the medical team. I wasn't once ever complaining. I just asked pointed, serious questions, and I listened when they spoke. And then when they saw me, how I was dressed, how I made eye contact, how I showed the affection I had towards my uncle, all of a sudden it was like night and day. And that wasn't fair. Like, that was my first thought leaving there. I remember texting my wife. I'm like, wow, that wasn't fair. She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm going to call you right now. And I walked through the scenario. Now, obviously with my wife, I gave more details. I used names, etc. But it wasn't fair because I got the respect the other person deserved. Mm-hmm. But I got the respect because I asked for it based on my mannerisms. So I'm looking at this camera and say, some of you are failing in business and you're failing in sales, all based on how you're dressed, how you speak, and how people witness you doing your thing. It's that easy. Put on your uniform and go play your part. Do you think I speak the same way on Guys Weekend as I do when I'm in the office? No, I don't. Right? Like, I'm not saying like I'm more relaxed. I'm more, what's a good word besides relaxed, John? Help me out here.
Casual, comfortable.
Casual. Yeah. Way more casual. I use way more slang than I would. I probably, maybe slouch a little more. I might not be dressed as crisp when I'm doing Guys Weekend with the dudes, but the minute it's time for me to go to work, it's showtime, right? So how many people that are struggling right now, if I just started with, show me what you're wearing today to work, okay? Let me watch you interact with others. How are you treating all the people in the room, not just the one person that you're trying to connect with? Mm-hmm. And then, are you speaking with confidence? Are you slowing down and enunciating? Are you increasing your voice and decreasing your voice, meaning your tonality? And then when you speak, are you saying the things that make you come across as a subject matter expert? Or are you saying the things that, well, quite honestly, turn other people off? So to me, a cold hard truth starts right there. And I had a real life example of it just by what I thought was innocently stopping by to check in on my uncle, who I hadn't seen for 2 weeks. And I ended up having this like kind of inspiring moment where, man, that was it was a eye-opening experience. That's what I think what the kids call it.
Is that what the kids say, Dustin?
I think so, John. So I'm gonna touch on this one. Cold hard truth.
You're too stupid to be a loan officer. There, I said it. You're too dumb.
Let's take loan officer out of it, John.
You're too dumb to be a professional working citizen.
Let's take dumb out of it. Let's do this instead. You asked me off camera.
Yep.
Can someone be smart and lazy or hardworking and average intelligence?
Yeah.
And my answer was
yes.
Well, you can be.
Yeah.
But which do I prefer?
Correct.
And I prefer someone to have above average intelligence and above average work ethic.
Well,
like that's the preference. But you said you can't do that.
You can't have both, Dustin.
Well, you can. That's why we have top producers. That's why we have the Scotsman Guide, and we celebrate the men and women who are in the Scotsman Guide. Okay. But I'm going to tell you that you need to have drive and work ethic and hold my beer mentality and the endurance of a freaking marathon runner if you're ever going to be successful in sales and in owning your own business. Okay, you have to have that. If you don't, then you can have a career in sales. I just don't know if it'll ever be anything better than mediocre, right? Below average or average at best.
Mid is what the kids say now.
Mid. It would be mid. Now, if you're smart, but you're lazy, you might not make it. Like, you can't just outsmart everything. Now, if you're smart and you work just hard enough to get your business off the ground, then yes, there's a good chance that you could connect with people easier, so you have to make less sales calls. You could convert your leads at a higher ratio because you have just a different approach and a much higher level approach that you build trust amongst your clientele much sooner and much quicker. But if you're not out grinding, you're not getting after it, if you don't have the mentality of an endurance athlete, you still will be mid.
Who would you rather have? Someone who's fantastic at structuring loans but can't talk to a wall to get a lead, or someone who's a social butterfly, but as soon as they get a lead in, it's subprime, they don't structure the file right, and it's a nightmare on the back end?
Well, neither of those situations what I want, okay? But we can say this. I would rather someone who can get after it from a sales and networking standpoint and can generate leads and know just enough about mortgage that they can get a loose pre-qualification done. I can always hire and train someone on how to understand loan programs, products, and guidelines the way an underwriter does, the way a processor does. I can leverage AI. I can leverage various technologies to actually do the technical aspect. But I can't take someone who's technically a 10 and teach them the drive that is necessary to give them the endurance that is required to make them money motivated, or even the skill set that comes with being a master networker and to be a relationship builder and someone who's out there making friends and having those friendships turn into trust ships. And then with that trust, you're generating leads. So if I had to choose, I'm going to go 100% with that guy or girl who can get out there and build relationships, network like crazy, and generate leads. So a cold hard truth is, there's many of you who are loan originators and you are so focused on being the best technician. I can create and hire a technician. I need you to focus on being the best sales professional, business development professional, the best networker, the best lead generator. Like, that is what I need. Now, in a perfect world, you also will be no slouch when it comes to deal structuring, because that comes across. Nobody wants just a cute face, right? Nobody wants just like, oh, that well-dressed dude with style. At some point, if you don't have substance, you won't have trust. You build the trust with your knowledge. So you have to have product knowledge to be uber successful. You got to have both. So a cold hard truth is, yeah, if you are below average intelligence, I don't think many sales professions are good for you. I just don't, right? That's tough to say, but when I study top producers have above average intelligence. Now there's top producers who literally graduated second to last in high school and never went to college. But it doesn't mean that they have below average intelligence. They may have had a different childhood, a different upbringing. Maybe English was their second language. Maybe they grew up in a household where education wasn't necessarily a priority, or maybe they grew up in a household where they had to work 40 hours a week to support their household. Therefore, school was something that didn't excite them and it wasn't prioritized. Therefore, they didn't do well in school. But it doesn't mean that their intelligence is low. It doesn't mean that they're not coachable, that they can't learn, and that they're not driven or they have a thirst for knowledge. So you need to have that above average intelligence. So I would say coming out of the gates, if someone's like, hey, should I be a mortgage loan originator? Is it a good career for me? I'm like, I don't know. Do you have above average intelligence? I would start there. Are you coachable? Are you driven? I mean, like driven, you're like, hold my beer. And not only are you driven, but you have an endurance athlete's mindset. So you're gonna have to endure 2 or 3 years of not making money, 2 or 3 years of doing all the right things, quote unquote, but not seeing a result. Like, is that you? Because if you don't have that, you're not gonna make it. But if I had to choose, man, give me the hard worker with average intelligence over the lazy worker with supreme intelligence.
What's the biggest lesson you learned that you had to learn on the job when you first became a mortgage loan originator? Was there like one biggest lesson that like, holy shit, that's kind of like blindsided you?
Once I learned the basics of personal finance, I became really good, like almost unstoppable. Like I'm good at a situation where I have to meet a stranger, befriend them, talk shop, get to know them, and come across presentable to where they're like, yeah, this guy seems like someone who is worth working with. Like that was, and some of that may have been how I dressed, the eye contact I made, my firm handshake, my ability to hold a conversation. It also could have been that I walked in and I'm not an ugly person and I am a taller person with broad shoulders and a baritone voice. And there's certain aspects of that just give me an advantage. And I played into that, but I could do that while I was learning my programs, products, and guidelines. But programs, products, and guidelines, I'm going to tell all of you, you learn by doing loans. So you want to learn programs, products, and guidelines? Sure, you can call Casey and the entire team over at Zenix. You can pay for ground school, take ground school, highly recommend it, suggest it. Great use of your money getting started. But until you go out and fund 10, 20 loans, you literally are like LO in training. Until you have funded 50 loans, you really don't know what you're doing. Until you funded 100 loans, you're no good. Until you funded 200, you're not an expert. So the only way that you get great at doing loans is lots of at-bats. But what made me unstoppable is when I started learning consumer credit, when I started learning budgeting, when I started learning Rule of 72 and compound interest and how to run a household in a manner that we are going to generate a massive amounts of wealth through proper saving, investing, focusing on earning as much as we focus on saving and purchasing of real estate. Like once I could communicate that, and really I started living it, I sat down with a financial advisor. I then hired a second financial advisor. I met with 5 others that were just buddies of mine and picked their brains. I read a Dave Ramsey book, right? I started listening to Clark Howard or reading books by Peter Lynch. And I started hanging out with other guys and girls and other people who were doing the same thing, at which point I built out a community where we were a young married couple starting our families, all in business, talking about the things that we are trying to do so we could be less of a financial mess. That was a game changer for me.
Oh, you're not going to ask me when my life altering?
When was your life altering, John?
I'm still trying to have that moment, Dustin.
Are you? Are you hoping it happens like your 40th year?
I think so.
You think so?
I don't know.
But like, what is that you're seeking?
I guess I have to know what I'm looking for to find it. I guess that's my first problem, Dustin.
Do you think you have to look for it, or do you think when it shows up, it's just going to be bam there?
I think it's going to be just bam there, but I think when it's just bam there, you don't realize it's right in front of you. Very philosophical. It's going to smack you in the mouth, and you didn't even realize like that was the moment.
That was the moment.
Probably when I met you, Dustin. That's probably the moment. I didn't even realize it when I applied to that job on LinkedIn. What is it? LinkedIn?
No, it wasn't even LinkedIn. It was probably like Indeed or something.
God.
Which is crazy because I constantly teach the career opportunity you want. Your dream job is not online, with one exception. Although, it's debate still out there. Is this really John's dream job or just a decent job?
You know what? I think it's a decent job.
Yeah.
No, this is a career, man. This is good. I enjoy this. So next, what people won't tell you because people are soft and don't want to hurt your feelings.
Well, so what have we? So we've gone through.
You dress don't
you dress like shit.
Yeah, you're ugly and
you know what? I never want to call someone ugly.
Why?
Because you don't have to be naturally beautiful.
False.
To be presentable.
It's much easier. Who is going to be? Have you ever
look? Do your hair.
Yeah. If you
wear clean clothes.
Allegedly.
That match. Tuck them in. Make sure your shoes and belt match. Okay, you don't have to be
dapper Don.
Naturally like oh my gosh, you're making most beautiful person in the world, GQ magazine, to be presentable. But yes, we started with most of y'all just don't dress the part. Start dressing the part.
Frumpy.
Then speak with confidence. If you don't know how to speak with confidence, read a book.
Tastmasters.
Toastmasters. Yeah.
I couldn't have even done that better myself.
Yeah. So we walk with a purpose. Understand that you are being judged by how you treat all people, not just the one or two people that you're trying to do business with. Like those are, understand your limitations. That's where I think intelligence and drive come into place. Are you someone with above average intelligence? If so, you're in the driver's seat. Do you have immense drive? And then I would ask you, if I was interviewing you, well, give me an example of another time in your life where you were recognized as being the best at something. Show me an opportunity or tell me a story about one time in your life when you overcame a massive adversity to then win something. Like, show me another time. If you don't have those wins, I'm going to tell you the cards are stacked against you when you're trying to go into a 100% commission sales job or you're trying to start your own business. If you can't look back on your life and be like, yep, that one time I was the best out of 42 other people, or that one time the doubters told me I couldn't do it, and after 3 years I proved them wrong, and here's my trophy, or here's my my fat stack of cash that I earned by doing it. Like, I think that's a cold hard truth on top of, do you look the part? Do you sound the part?
If someone were to ask you, Dustin, why should I become a mortgage loan originator? What would your answer be? Why should I become an LO? My cousin said he made a lot of money and I'm thinking about becoming an LO, but why should I?
Man, I'm going to tell you, you should become a loan officer because you want to make a lot of money. I'm going to go there. Cold hard truth. I'm going to go there because you want to make a whole lot of money. Now, are you going to enjoy doing what it takes to make a whole lot of money? Because that's where we guys like and girls like me get bit by the bug. We get bit by the bug because we got into it for the money. Plain and simple. We're like, damn, there's no income cap. I can make $1 million, $2 million a year doing this if I'm one of the best of the best. I can make six figures pretty easily as long as I make it through my first 2 years. Yeah, sign me up. Okay, we get into it for the money. But then we realize we're working in personal finance. We're working in real estate. We're problem solving. We are coaching our clients. We are bringing value to our local community. I love the work because it is work, and work's a 4-letter word. Just like fuck, just like shit, just like damn. Work is a 4-letter word. So the work that we do doesn't feel like work. When I'm talking to you and teaching you about budgeting, teaching you about what it takes to purchase real estate, asking you questions about your assets and teaching you about, well, John, you need this much money down, this much money for down payment. Here's a great loan program. Here are your 2 or 3 options. Here's why one option will be better than the other. Then I'm holding your hand and navigating you through the process. That's work, but I love every minute of it. But I got into the business because I wanted to make money, and a lot of it. And then because of that, I was willing to work. I was willing to endure. I was willing to grind. I was willing to compete and be coachable. And then what I was doing, though, that closing, watching you buy your first house, right? Or even helping your mom sell her house and move into a smaller house, and teaching her how to take all that equity and maybe not put it all into the next house, because maybe I can introduce her to a financial advisor or two who can help her do something different or better with those assets. Like, that type of work was very rewarding, but I got into it for the money.
Do you think most loan originators get into it for the money? Or do they, I want to help attain the dream of home ownership? Is that just like bullshit that they say after like they start?
I think there's a good amount of loan originators that get into it because they think it's easy money. They think it's a side hustle.
And
They think it's something they can do part-time.
It's not?
Fuck no. No. Look, once you are established and you've had a successful career and you want to dial that career back, by all means you can work from home. By all means you can be selective about how hard you work, what clients you take on. By all means, yes. Coming into it, no. End of story, no. Anyone who can prove me wrong, there are 99 others that will prove me right, which makes you an outlier. And then ask yourself, do you ever want to work with a part-time CPA, a part-time attorney? You want your teeth cleaned by a part-time dentist? No, you don't want a dentist ever clean your teeth, by the way. Dental hygienist should be cleaning your teeth. But you don't want a part-time CPA. Now, if my attorney was one of the top attorneys in all of Boston for 40 years, and my attorney does take on new clients, but on a minimal basis every year, by all means, that's a different story. But coming out of law school, I don't want a part-time lawyer. I don't want a part-time doctor come out of medical school, right? So you want a full-time professional who has a great team behind him or her. That team could be a branch manager, could be a processor, could be a loan officer, assistant, could be so many other things. But no, this is not a part-time. So are there people that get into it because they want to help people? I mean, yes, but why I laughed, cold hard truth, don't kill the messenger. Those people bomb in this industry. They bomb. It's hard. It ain't easy. If you get into it solely because you want to help people, you are not going to have the drive that it takes to ever help anybody. How about that? Let that one sink in right in front of your face. If you're getting into it solely to help people, I'm going to tell you, you will not have the drive necessary. You don't have that hold my beer factor. You're not money motivated. You're not willing to be an endurance athlete. You'll help nobody. I think it starts the guys and girls who are motivated by money and chose this over so many other things that they could have done. They could have sold life insurance. They could have become a financial advisor. They could have got into real estate development, right? All are very risk adverse, high income careers. They could sell commercial real estate. No, you chose mortgage loan originator, maybe because you do want to help people, but you're first money motivated. That's been my experience for the past 20 years. That's another cold hard truth of like why you're not going to make it, because you're not money motivated, right? Like, let's call it like you see it. You're money motivated. That's why you're doing this. And then because you don't have that hold my beer mentality. Because you know what, my last one, I'm gonna end on this one.
Okay.
Because we're getting long, I think. You're not going to make it, cold hard truth, because you will not treat your business like a business. You won't invest in you. Like, think about that. You won't invest in you. You'll go spend $12,000
Yes.
on a fucking TV.
Not even think about it.
But you won't spend $12,000 across the year to invest in your professional success. That's coaching first, right? Because you need a business coach to teach you what to do. You need a sales trainer to teach you what to say so that you can generate leads. Once you're generating leads, now you're like, well, how do I incubate those leads? Oh, cool. Go spend money on a CRM. You have your CRM, you have your leads, but you're like, man, I want a better way to present to my clients. Maybe you go pay for a technology like Mortgage Coach. Now that you have Mortgage Coach and a CRM and you're generating leads, you want to generate more leads. Well, now you need money to do events, to go to networking functions, right? That's lunches, that's coffees, that's picking up the tab for someone's glass of wine or their beer after work. Takes money. At some point, You're like, damn, these clients are turning into closed clients. Maybe I need to have a post-closing campaign, whether it's HomeBot, whether it's gifts that you're doing. That takes money. Then you're like, well, I want to go hang out with some other people who are having success like I'm having, but maybe even more success. Let's go to a conference or two every single year. That takes money. So y'all are not going to make it because you're not willing to invest in your business. And that is like totally asinine, because everything that we're talking about, you can change. Like, you can make that change right now. Like, oh, I don't have $500 a month to become a member of the TLOP MLO coaching community. Awesome. It's only $250 a month right now, going to $300. Like, you know, like, cool. We can solve for that. But it's like, I don't have money. No, you're not willing to find the money. You got the money, right? The money may entail you have to go do some babysitting gigs. You're not too old to babysit. You got friends with kids, babysit their kids. They'll pay you like $15, $20 an hour. 10 hours of babysitting, you made $200. 15 hours of babysitting, what'd you make there? $300. $300, you can hire yourself a business coach and a sales trainer. Okay, same thing goes for paying for lunches, happy hours, networking events. It's there. Go valet cars. I valeted cars. I worked as an assistant auctioneer. I hauled debris for FEMA. There's no work that was underneath me. The money I made to haul debris for FEMA, I literally put back into my mortgage business. By that paid for my lunches and my coffees with real estate agents. Right? So like, but if you're not willing to do that, that's also you not willing to dress professionally, to show up to work. That's you who doesn't walk with confidence, doesn't speak with confidence, doesn't make eye contact, who doesn't shake hands firmly, right? Who doesn't treat people respectfully. It's like, just respectfully. Can't be whiny, because that's weak, right? You can't be over the top abrasive and complaining. You got to be there to be helpful, curious, and a problem solver. Like, how can I help you today, John? Tell me more about that. Oh, have you ever considered this as a potential solution? That's my whole purpose for when I'm interacting with others, especially in a business setting. And I have to be able to invest in myself. And if you don't have the money, think of all the free resources that are available to you. So, yeah, those are some of my pet peeves. This is the cold hard truth. You have just tuned in. Wow. Wow. You have just tuned in.
Thank you.
To the Loan Officer Podcast. He's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today. But if you want more, here's how you get more. Go to our YouTube channel, and if you have not done so already, subscribe. The YouTube channel is TLOP. TLOP stands for The Loan Officer Podcast. Go and sign up for my newsletter. It comes out every Thursday. I write it myself. You can sign up for it at tloponline.com. TLOPonline.com. Sign up for the free newsletter. And then lastly, if you like what we're doing and it doesn't suck, if you want to see us continue, all you have to do is share us, because sharing is caring. And as we watch the audience grow, it gives John and I the fuel to light our fire so that we can continue to create content like this. That's all the time we have for you today. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to catching you on the next episode.